tell me or something that have been given this death sentence by this doctor, by their doctors, and some of them change and some of them don't. Some of them get well and some of them don't. But I see it all the time, and it's possible if you start following the formula and eliminate what causes the problem. You see, it all comes down to disease, and it all comes down to this, and I tell people, how do you know if what you're doing is working for you? How do you know that the diet you chose to eat for yourself is working for you? And people say two of the most dangerous words in the English language. I feel. If you're waiting to how you feel to determine what stage of health you're in, chances are you're going to be in the latest stage of disease before you even know what's going on. Because the body has an amazing power to adapt to its environment and its diet. And I know a lot of people that do things that are unhealthy, but they feel great. I know people that eat coffee and pizza and everything else and they feel great. I know people that smoke crack and feel great when they're high. We can't just go by how we feel. There has to be other things to determine what's going on with our health. We're going to talk about what those things are. How you feel should be part of it, but not exclusively the only thing, and certainly not the first thing. And this is the first problem, because most of the raw fooders I meet, when I ask them how they're doing, they say, I feel great. I met this guy not too long ago. He has a raw food company, and he sells all these raw foods and everything else. And I said, how are you doing? He goes, I'm doing great. I said, how do you know? He goes, I feel great. My staff looks great. I look great. Everything's great. I go, so that's how you're determining you're doing great? He said, yeah. After I give you this lecture tonight, you're going to see how dangerous that thinking is. We're going to look at that and we're going to see how dangerous that is. So I kept studying and I kept researching and everything else. And I love to read old books. And then up to that point, I had traveled around every state in the United States except 2 of them. Sad and unhappy. And I don't plan on visiting those states anytime soon. So I was teaching in Michigan about 9 years ago. And somebody came up to me after my lecture and they said, Paul, your book is the second greatest health book I've ever read. And I said, well, what's the first? And they said, I'll tell you on 2 conditions. Not only will I tell you, I'll give you a copy of the book. And I'm really excited because I love to read health books, but when he challenged me that his book was better than mine, I said, well, now I really want to read it to prove you wrong. Because I was yet humbled and I couldn't believe that. So he said, the first thing is, before you develop an opinion about the book, you read the whole book. I said, how can I develop an opinion about the book unless I read the whole book? He says, well, you see, some people have a habit of just skimming through the pages and saying they know what the book says. I said, I understand that. I'm going to read the whole book because I understand about health and I want to know what it says. What's the next thing? They said, the next thing is, if you disagree that this isn't the greatest health book ever written, you give it back to me. But if you agree, you tell other people about it. I said, sir, I highly doubt it would be anywhere close as good as mine. But if it is, I'll gladly tell other people about it. I read the book and I found out that I was proven wrong. It was by far the greatest health book ever written and had more information in that book about health than any other book I've ever read.